You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good Friday morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida.
I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network. It's Friday, August 30th. Oh my God, it's almost September. Episode 3509, brought to you today by Kentucky Performance Products. Good morning, horse people.
It's Friday, and another weekend of riding is a few short hours away. Jamie and Glenn are here to help you make it through the day with some fun guests and some really bad ads. Enjoy the show.
Well, yes, thank you for joining us on this Friday. We have a fun show planned for you. Author and friend of ours, Abigail Boatwright, is going to join us to tell us about her new book called Your Complete Guide to Equine Arenas. I booked that just to drive Jamie crazy.
I'm telling you, man, any minute that indoor's going up, any minute.
I'm going to buy you this book for Christmas, and I'll make sure Chad gets a copy too. So
send it to Chad, yeah.
Yeah.
Any minute when I win the lottery, we're going to have the nicest indoor. Oh my God.
Autumn Miller answers some listener questions on how CareCredit works. I kept getting listener questions on the advertisements we do for CareCredit, and I finally got a hold of them and said, look, why don't I just ask you some of these questions? You can answer them. So we're going to have that for you today. And then we have some really bad ads, and then in the Auditor Post show, we don't know what we're going to talk about. But before we get on with Daily Whinnies, Liz Holliday, who was a host here on the Horse Radio Network for a long time with the eventing radio show, and of course Olympian, she did a great job over at the Olympics in Paris. She took a tumble at the American Eventing Championships in Lexington yesterday and was taken to the hospital. The horse is fine. I'll start with that. But we did get an update from her family late last night. It said, today Liz sustained a head injury at the AEC after a fall in cross country. After being transported to the hospital, Liz underwent surgery to relieve pressure from the swelling on her brain. Her team of doctors felt surgery went exceptionally well. She's in stable condition and currently resting comfortably. So that's the update on Liz, and we wish her and her family and everybody the best. I know Liz pretty well, and she's the one, remember, that was the race car driver, the Formula One driver. So, we're just wishing her the best. I don't know anything about the fall or the accident or how that happened, but also the tragic situation with the rodeo horses. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
You see conflicting reports, but I think it's almost 80 now have died. And it was a feed issue. And there are lots of rumors about what happened and why it happened. And we know it was feed related. It's not concrete yet how it happened or what exactly happened. We just want to, give our best to all the connections involved. This is a thing that makes all of us that have horses fearful, is that some feed thing or something we're going to feed our horses is going to, cause them to keel over. So this is a fear that we all have anyway. And when you see reports like this, we're going to talk about it more next week when we learn more. And I'm going to try and get somebody on to help us have this discussion that knows a little bit more than Jamie and I do. So, but I want to let it see it play out so that we're not just talking rumors here. But we just wanted today to give our best to everybody.
Just tragic, heartbreaking, and terrifying are the three words I can use to describe this. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, we're not going to go any further until we have some more information. I think that's the most responsible way to handle it.
And I have some really good news for you right after Daily Whinnie. Let's do one of those. We have two auditor birthdays. I think they're the only auditor birthdays we've had this week. Emily Wheeler and Charlie Ann Stevens. Happy birthday to both of you. Also, it's the end of the month, so auditors, please check on Patreon. Sign into your Patreon account. Check for current credit cards. I know there are a bunch of expired ones, and that we're going to have to send out nasty notes soon. So if you're not sure, if you haven't checked yours in the last year, I would hop on there and check for expiration dates.
So nasty. Watch out. I mean, the angry emails are going to start flowing.
Yeah, usually I'm really bad at doing nasty, so you don't have to worry about that. But you might get a reminder.
Listen, Gwen, you keep your business to yourself. She posted on the Horses in the Morning Auditor Facebook page. Can we please have Ginger on? We always hear Jamie's side of stories, but I want to hear her perspective on all of Jamie's antics. Listen, Gwen. Shut it.
Ginger was the one for people who didn't listen to Wednesday. It's Jamie's neighbor, and she was the one that was armed going to look at the horses in rural Oklahoma.
She is she's always for my antics.
Oh, I've met Ginger.
Yeah. She's a redhead, and she speaks fluent Spanish, but you would never, ever guess that she speaks fluent Spanish. This has no Spanish heritage at all. And so she's great to take in situations like that because she also has a concealed carry permit. And when I'm going to very shady places, she's the one I want with me. Now, to be fair, my other neighbor, Patty, is also an auditor, and she messaged me last night. She's like, I want to go to the next one. Come on.
Can
She's
see
like,
Patty doing that too.
She also has her concealed, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got my own like army of badass women. Anyway, I texted
Wasn't Ginger the one
that.
we did the escape room with?
Yes.
Ginger's tough. Yeah. We need to get
She's
her on
tough.
a post show. I'll interview her in a post show.
I sent her a picture of the post, and she's like, I'm not really that interesting. And I'm like, oh, they don't want to hear about you. They want to hear your thoughts about me.
That's funny. Gwen is the one that it does instigate trouble occasionally. You know?
Oh, yeah, she's trouble.
Yeah.
I will say that years ago, we had my friend Larissa on, and Glenn tried so hard to get Larissa to talk trash about me. And she is a loyal and loving friend who would never think about breathing a bad word about me.
Your husband has said worse.
Ginger is the opposite. Okay. She will push me in a cart down the river in 2 seconds to make. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, good. She'll be the one to get on. I've tried your husband and I've tried Larissa. I haven't had any luck at all. So
I know.
Your
My
husband's
people
pretty
are loyal.
defensive too. He's come up close, but he hasn't crossed the line yet. So
no, he knows. He knows how this works.
Hey, I have some good news and a funny story for you. So all of you that have been following along with our trauma of getting into our new house, a couple of weeks ago, remember the power company came out and they were going to trench the line to our house, but they found a hole, which they thought might be a tortoise hole, a gopher turtle, which are highly protected. So we had to wait another week or two for their environmental animal person to come out and determine that it was a gopher hole so they could trench. Well, finally on Wednesday, they trenched the power to our house. So we go out the next morning. Yay. Yeah, I know. This is good. There's more to the story, though. We go out the next morning, and I said, well, let's just walk the trench, because they make a big swatch. It's like 12 feet wide and, dig up all the grass and everything. I said, let's walk down to the power pole and then back up to the house. And it's about 300-400 feet. So we walk down to where the power pole is, where that hole was. And right at that moment, if there isn't a damn gopher turtle, an enormous one, walking right by the power pole, and I swear he looked over at us and stuck his tongue out. It was the most bizarre thing. After all of that, we go down, and by the power pole was walking a turtle. Now, we see that turtle going by every once in a while, but the fact that he was there at that very moment, sticking his tongue out at us and saying, I held you up.
I mean, hopefully you threw a blanket on him and took him over to your neighbor's.
The neighbor has like 10 holes and it's everywhere.
Nothing to see here.
So anyway, that was kind of funny. But yeah, so all that's left now, and all the other thing that happened is yesterday we passed the county inspection. So Duke can turn the power on. We get the skirting on the house. Final inspection, we're in. So a week or two. Fingers crossed, if they don't find anything else wrong. But hopefully in the next week or two. We actually see light at the end of the tunnel now, which we haven't before. So I'm very excited about that. Also, Poop Week is coming up. That's right. September the 9th, the week is Poop Week. Think Shark Week, only for poop. All of our guests that week are going to be poop. I'm finding lots of trivia about poop, lots of history about poop. It's going to be all poop all week. So we're looking forward to that. If you have a funny poop story, head on over to, and we've gotten several of these so far, head on over to horseradionetwork.com and click on the voicemail button right there with your phone and record your funny poop story, and it'll come automatically by magic to us, and we'll play it on the show. So if you have a funny poop story, send it in. There are a couple funny ones so far.
mean, That's very broad. That's a very broad
horse
request.
poop. Horse poop.
Okay.
Let's clarify there. Let's clarify horse poop. Hey,
Do you know what's really fun that happened to me this morning?
What's that?
I got a horse in with a puncture wound, and I've been, we had to put a drain in it, and we had all this stuff going on. And so the drain was pulled this week, but the vet said, just keep flushing it until you can't flush it anymore. And so I was like, okay. So I had Farm Boy holding the horse, and I stuck the little plunger up in the bottom hole to shoot out the top hole. And that's fine. That doesn't bother me. But the top hole is closing over, which it's supposed to, but I'm still supposed to flush. And if it comes out, great. I push it up and it wouldn't come out. And I was like, I guess the top hole's closing. And as I'm saying, I guess it's closed, with my mouth open I'm pushing the plunger, it shot me right in the mouth, Glenn, in the face like this. It's like a betadine flesh solution. You have never
There is not enough Listerine in the world for that.
You've never heard a man laugh at a woman like that. I mean, he was unglued. Like, it just literally shot me right in the face. God. And I was in the midst of talking. I'm like, I guess we're okay.
And he's so quiet. I can imagine him just cracking up.
I was like, you're doing it next time.
I'm telling you, there's not enough Listerine in the world. On that note, the United States Equestrian Federation announced something that's really cool that's starting to happen. I think because of the Olympics and how much exposure horse sport got from the Olympics, and I think pretty good exposure during the Olympics. Before it wasn't great, but during the Olympics. And they're really on a press right now to get horse sports out to mainstream, which we've been talking about, for 15 years. So what they've announced is called the U.S. Equestrian Open. It's going to span all 3 Olympic disciplines, and what it's going to be is every year they're going to have a finals to announce a U.S. Equestrian Open champion. So each of the different disciplines, dressage, eventing, and show jumping, you'll have qualifiers throughout the year, but then they're going to have a big show at the end of the year, and they're going to have a total of $1 million in prize money, and all 3 finals are guaranteed. ESPN is guaranteed to cover them. So that's so cool that every year they're going to have this big finals, be a big championship, and that ESPN will cover it, plus a lot of prize money. So like eventing's going to have open qualifiers throughout the year, and then at the end of 2025, this is going to start, and they will do the first one at Morven Park. Isn't Morven Park where they're going to do the Olympics?
No, Galway is
Galway
where they're going to do the Olympics.
Yeah, but they're going to do this at Morven Park.
Is on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, that's right. Okay, I get those two mixed up. But they're going to have $200,000 in prize money for eventing, and then dressage is going to do it. They're going to do it at Thermal in California with $200,000 in prize money. And then what they're going to do with jumping is, because all the jumpers are in Florida at the end of the year anyway, they're going to tie it. They're going to do the U.S. Equestrian Open of Jumping Final, which will take place during the Winter Equestrian Festival in Wellington. And the Winter Equestrian Festival is putting up an additional $250,000, so there's the $750,000. But I think the exposure on ESPN is what they're really going for, and that's why they're doing this, is to try and get additional exposure to non-horse people. So good for them. And it gives, all the competitors something to, and it's an open. So, anybody can qualify for this by doing the qualifying events. So that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of neat as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So good on the USEF for doing something like that.
I love it.
Well, let's hear from...
We need all the happy, good, fun stuff to watch. So
yes.
Perfect.
Yes. It also gives us something else to watch. That's correct. Every year, too. And they're really doing this as a lead up to Los Angeles, because obviously, the United States Equestrian Federation really wants everybody happy about the events in Los Angeles in 2028. And if we're still doing this, maybe that's one time we'll get press passes to the Olympics. Think they'd give them to us?
Any minute. Well, I'm only going if I can go with Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
That's the only time I'll go.
And then on Monday, we'll have somebody doing a report for us on the Para next week. Para started, they did their opening ceremonies, and their riding is starting on Monday, I think. So we'll have some reports out of that next week. Now, I've had many listeners ask for or have questions about this CareCredit promo that we've been running, and I put them together and I talked to the CareCredit people. So I have this for you right after we hear from Kentucky Performance Products.
She had waited all her life for this moment, dreaming about it since she was 10 years old. The trailer ramp touched the ground. He whinnied as she backed him out, swinging his head around to get a good look at his new home. His coat gleamed in the sun. Her love had arrived. She was breathless. He was beautiful. She could hardly wait to tack him up and start off on what she was sure would be the best times of her life. This love story is brought to you by Contribute, providing essential omega-3 fatty acids that help maintain low inflammation levels throughout your horse's body. The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Call 859-873-2974 or visit kppusa.com to order today.
You've heard some advertisements recently for CareCredit, and several of you have reached out with questions. I thought I would go right to the source, and I'd ask someone for CareCredit to kind of clarify some of these things. And, we've all had those times when our pets need vet care, and we wonder how we're going to pay for it. I think some of us more than others. And I have with me Autumn Miller from CareCredit. Hi, Autumn.
Hey, Glenn. Thanks for having me on.
Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what CareCredit does, tell us a little bit about you and also what you do there.
Yeah, I would love to. But first, thanks for having me on. Talking about CareCredit and how all this works is definitely something I like to do because it's so helpful for all of us furry friend owners. I have coined this term definitely within the company, but I am a crazy horse girl. I've been a crazy horse girl since I was little. It kind of has pushed, me in every career choice that I have done. So I graduated from University of Kentucky with a degree in equine science, and I, from then on, was a equine tech for 10 years. 5 of it was at Haggard Medicine Center in Lexington. So that was great while I was going through school. And then, my now husband, who I met at school, he's Navy. So we've moved around kind of all over the country, and I've worked in mixed animal practices all around. And I was a horse show groom for a long time. I did the Keeneland sales while I was in school. So I'm all equine all the time. And I now have a toddler, 2.5-year-old toddler, and I have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a horse who is causing me a lot more money lately than I would like.
Don't they all?
Yes, I know. I just tried to explain to my husband that maybe we should just wrap her in some bubble wrap. That might be better.
We've all said that. I need to have your husband on the Horse Husband episode, and we'll find out the real story.
I'm sure he would have a lot to say about that subject.
For anyone who's not familiar with CareCredit, tell us what CareCredit is and what you guys do.
So CareCredit is a health and wellness credit card with, it has flexible financing options that allow you to pay for care over time. So that would mean, all of your family members, kids, parents, as well as your furry friends. So your dogs, your cats, your horses, even any of your exotics. We're accepted at thousands of locations nationwide, mainly, veterinary care, dentistry, some cosmetic and skincare. So if you just go to the website, it kind of explains it a little bit more about, where you can find a provider. And we actually have a little locator map, and you can go in there and put your zip code in and then look for whatever specialty you're looking for. I do, I'll just make a comment that makes sure that your distance is appropriate for how far away from the zip code that you are to make sure that you're seeing all of your providers.
I did go in and just did that for Ocala, where we live, and I put it under equine and large animal, and there were a whole bunch of them.
We do have quite a few. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that works, and I was so glad to see most of the ones we use are in there. So how does it work? How does the credit card work? Like a regular credit card, or is it different?
Kind of. So I'm just going to do a little theoretical scenario first, and then we'll go from there. So it's a weekend, and it is the week before Christmas. And you get that dreaded phone call from your barn. It's not a text, and it's a phone call, and you know that it can't be anything good. So let's just say Beamer is having a little bit of a colic episode. So you rush over to the barn, you meet the vet there. You guys are sitting there talking about him and what's it going to cost. So, probably around $1,200 and tubes, oil, fluids, exam, your emergency fee, all that. that's a big yikes for me. I would not be happy seeing a $1,200 bill on my thing. So fortunately, your vet takes CareCredit, and you guys talk about, what that looks like. And from here, CareCredit has two options for our card holders. If you pay your bill off in 6 months and it's on a qualifying purchase of over $200, there is a deferred interest option. And then we do have some longer term special financing options. And then, you pay it off over a little bit longer time. So this gives you the flexibility to be able to manage your monthly payment while still getting your horse the care that you need. And it's a little bit better for your pocketbook at the time.
And your example of $1,200, I think, is pretty low. So I think all of our experience has been much higher than that, especially if you have to throw them in a trailer and bring them to the clinic.
Well, if you have to bring them, yeah. So this is just like, the only reason I did it is because my vet was x-raying. My friend he's a vet, so he was x-raying my horse last weekend, and he got a call, and he was like, it'll be about $1,200 for fluids and tubing. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a little lower than
$5,000 if you drive them.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, is it insured? Because if you're going to spend $1,200 with me, you might as well just drive, you might as well just take to Ocala because, whatever. So anyway.
No, we all know, we've all been there. So kind of explain how you apply for the CareCredit credit card.
Yeah. So the easiest way is to do it through your veterinarian. All of them have a QR code that is specifically associated with their hospital. Oh, wow. And I think, the QR codes are a love-hate for a lot of people, but I think COVID has kind of forced everybody into learning how to use them. And you can't even get a menu at a restaurant without scanning them these days. So they all have a QR code, and it's actually a pre-qualification first, so it won't impact your credit score, which is great. If you don't pre-qualify for any reason, you can try again with either a lower amount, or there is an option to add a co-signer, which is good for a lot of people. So let's just say you did pre-qualify. From there, you can move straight through to the application. Once you're approved, you can use that card right away. So if you're in an emergency situation, if you're bringing your horse into the clinic, going to the hospital, then you at least know that you have that line of credit available. There are other methods to apply. So if, you're really not a QR code fan, you can go to carecredit.com or there's a 1-800 number. The app is really handy and really easy to use. So, you can manage your account information. You can pay your doctor. There's even a payment calculator on there. So if you have some type of invoice or estimate sitting in front of you, you can see what your payments are going to look like after that.
So one question, if I apply, let's say for Peterson and Smith, which happens to be one of the ones here in Ocala, does that mean I can't use it in anything but Peterson and Smith?
No, thankfully, as long as once you get pre-qualified and you go through the application, you get approved, then you can use that card anywhere.
Well, one other question before you go, and that is, we all in the barn have horses, but we also have, a lot of us, many dogs and cats. Does it also apply to small animal?
Yes, thankfully, it's available at any veterinary office that takes it. So when you go onto the locator, you can, look at specifically companion animal, or you can look at large animal specifically. But, a lot of my experience with CareCredit in a mixed animal hospital was with the companion animal side. I mean, they have big emergencies too, an ACL surgery, or I have 2 labs, so foreign bodies in my case. But there's nothing like a lab puppy in a sock,
Labs always seem to be the ones that eat stuff too.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, one time in college, my lab, she threw up a tack sponge, and I was just shocked. When and where and how? Why would you eat that? So so definitely, if you're curious, if your small animal vet takes it, you can always look it up. Or next time you're in the office, just kind of look around. They usually almost always have some type of brochures or QR codes hanging somewhere. So if you're curious and you want to learn more, definitely go ahead and scan that QR code. It definitely helps, at least being prepared for an emergency versus having to react afterwards.
Well, thank you, Autumn. To learn more and apply, visit carecredit.com/horses. That's carecredit.com/horses. And I hope I've answered some of the listener questions that you've brought to me.
Thanks for having me.
Regular account terms apply to non-promo purchases, and after promo period ends the promo balance. For deferred interest will be charged to your account from the purchase date if the promotional balance is not paid in full within the promotional period. Minimum monthly payments required. For new accounts as of May 30th, 2024, purchase APR 32.99%. Penalty APR 39.99%. Minimum interest charge $2. CareCredit Rewards MasterCard, cash APR 32.99% and 4% fee, $10 minimum. Balance transfer APR 32.99% and 5% fee, $5 minimum. Foreign transaction fee 3%. Existing cardholders see your credit card agreement terms, subject to credit approval.
Well, coming up next is one of our good friends, and she's been on the show before. I spent many an AHP with her. We've hung out together, and she has a podcast that I've been on too. So Abigail Boatwright is with us, and we have her on about her new book, The Complete Guide to Equine Arenas. Hi, Abigail.
Hi, Glenn and Jamie. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Hello.
So why arenas? What was the fascination with arenas that made you want to write a book?
You know, haven't we all dreamed about writing about dirt? I mean, no, really. You know, I've been a journalist for a long time for horse magazines and grew up writing in reining and all sorts of events like that. But I wrote an article once thinking it would be a simple article about how to care for arenas. And I sat down with Bob and Jim Kaiser and they said, you know, this is a lot more than what you're going to be able to put into an article. And I was newly in my job. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. And as we sat down to write the article, I realized, wow, okay, we're going to make this a series. And this doesn't even scratch the surface. And so then I just kind of put the thought aside that there's a whole lot here that this could be a book. And I've written about it a couple of times over the years with different sources. And every time I just think that. And, you know, I had some friends that encouraged me, why don't you go ahead and write that pitch? You know, you should think about pitching that to be a book. And there really isn't a book like what I wanted to write. And I was able to write out, 10 chapters and it just, there's nothing like it. And so I felt like I should write it. I think arenas are really important. Good footing is really important for horses.
Now, is the book just about the footing or is it about the structure? What's it about?
All of the above. Yeah. Okay. So your complete guide to equine arenas is everything from planning to build an arena, like there's a bear patch in your pasture that you want to turn into arenas, all the way through planning and building, choosing your footing, choosing your equipment, and then how to maintain your arena for different disciplines. And it also has a chapter on racetracks, which I didn't know anything about, but it's fascinating the way that they build and maintain racetracks.
And is this indoor arenas, outdoor arenas, all arenas?
All arenas. We have a whole chapter comparing indoor versus outdoor, and then you have covered too, and round pens. So we do talk about both scenarios.
What did you learn that surprised you? We all knew how expensive they were, so that probably wasn't a surprise. But what surprised you?
So I come from a Western background where we use natural footing, sand, silt, and clay. And then I spoke with Nick Atwood at Atwood Equestrian, and he shared with me that a lot of English arenas have textiles built into their footing. And that's news to me as a Western rider. And I was like, you mean like a couple? And he's like, no, the majority of the arenas we build have textiles built into the footing. And so that was surprising to me and fascinating.
It's funny when you go to those arenas because sometimes they're very colorful textiles. So, they kind of glitter. It's like carpet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a carpet for horses. So I didn't realize how common that was.
It is. So, but I think a lot of people don't realize the difference between Western and English. There's a huge difference in footing between the two. Well, there's a difference in footing between the different disciplines in each too.
Yes. Yeah. There is a big difference in, the materials used. And again, I come from an all around quarter horse background where you do have English and Western on the same footing, but for, more jumping and dressage and 3-day eventing style riders versus your average Western rider, there is definitely a big difference. And even within the disciplines, there's sometimes a different ratio of the sand and silt and clay between, say, cutting and reining or barrel racing. And so learning about that was really interesting to me too.
Even down to what are they called? The kickboards that go around the outside of an indoor arena or on the inside of an indoor arena are different depending on discipline too.
Yes. So if you have cattle, you want solid fencing. If you have reining, you don't always even need a fence. And so, dressage fences are different from, again, cattle are the most secure ones. And then everything else is kind of, what do you want to do with it? What do you want it to look like? And the kickboard is a feature you don't see as much in Western arenas, but I could definitely see the benefit to having it. So, and it comes down to aesthetic as well.
What do you think? Obviously, you talked to a lot of people to write the book. What was something that was kind of across the board that a mistake people make with their arenas?
I think that a lot of people, including myself growing up, may turn a horse out into an arena as a turnout and let the horse, do what horses do, or, maybe drop some manure in the arena and thinking it's going to make your footing better, but it's actually going to degrade the footing. And it's a very bad thing for arenas. I didn't realize quite how bad it was until speaking with every single source I talked to said, scoop the manure as soon as possible. Try not to let your horse turn him out in the arena because the hay can get ground into the footing and it can destroy the integrity of the footing too.
Reese Koffler-Stanfield, who does our dressage show, has a really nice indoor arena, and she's obsessive about cleaning up the poop immediately. I mean, immediately.
Yeah, she's smart.
Nobody's going to ride over that poop.
No, you don't want to get ground in.
I would love to have an arena fancy enough that I worried about that.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. I would love that. So the way that I just have like a manufactured, it's called manufactured C33. And it's this footing that is helpful here in Oklahoma. And I do turn out on it, but like it wasn't expensive enough to worry about it degrading. All I cared about was that it didn't blow away. Do you have cause I mean, here in Oklahoma, it's windy. And so some of the arena people that I know around here have put in like beach sand, and like it just blows away. So was that something that you had to consider, like location versus the type of footing?
Yep. And I didn't realize how important moisture. I mean, we know that moisture makes a difference on the ground, but the key to helping it not blow away is adequate moisture. And you have to apply it a lot more than you might think. And there's a lot of different ways to do it other than hand watering, which nobody recommended of all of my sources. The water truck or the water trailer is like the ideal. Spoiler alert, you don't have to read my book now. No, just kidding. But really, the moisture is what keeps that from blowing away. And the ratio of the footing that you have in there. But yeah, blowing away does happen. Sometimes it helps if you have like the perimeter fit around your footing at the bottom, but really keeping it watered down will keep it from blowing away.
And that's tough to do when it's hot and dry, and you're right. You have to do it all the time. And even indoors, I mean, most of them are built with sprinkler systems now. And that's just because it makes it a whole lot easier. But I can imagine the water consumption.
Yeah. It depends on the location. Yeah, for sure. If you are, that's one of the calculations that you have to do is your location, the type of footing you have, what you're doing with your horse, but also the climate. If you're in a drier region, you're definitely going to have to water it down a whole lot more than someplace that's more humid.
I know in Wellington, some of those farms, I was talking to a friend of mine that's down there, they get up to $1,000 a month in a water bill because they have city water. Yeah. So, I mean, it gets up there when you're watering arenas and when you're watering the horses all the time and you're watering your lawn. I mean, just everything.
Yeah. And, there are some coated footings that you don't have to water. So you're paying a lot for the footing up front, but you don't have to water it. So that's a good option for some regions. And we do talk about that in the book, too. There's a lot of different types of footing out there these days.
Are you Texas? I forget.
I am. I'm in Fort Worth.
Yeah, you have the same problem Jamie does, probably. The hot.
Did you hear how she said that, by the way?
Yeah, I heard that.
Texas? I am. I mean, it turned Texas real
All of a sudden, her accent came out.
Just a little bit. I try to keep it under wraps. No.
You can turn it on, though, girl. That's funny. That's funny. Well, I think this is a fantastic idea. I can't wait to see the book. And it's called Your Complete Guide to Equine Arenas. Now, Jamie wants to know, are there any that are out there for less than like $10,000 for a 100 by 100 indoor?
No, 80 by 120 is fine. Glenn.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there is tips in there. So, I mean, it's not all about building an arena. There's tips in there to improve the footing that you have. There's tips on what equipment would be good for you, just ways to make it better. I do think it's an expensive investment, which is why I board horses. I don't have my own arena, but it is so worth it. When you think about the longevity of your horse and trying to do the sport that you want, it is a worthwhile investment, or go board somewhere that has their own footing,
Well, Abigail, the book is called Your Complete Guide to Equine Arenas. I'll put a link to it to Trafalgar Square. It's one of the terrific books from them. It's $26.95, and as of 2 hours ago, it's available. This just came out. Yesterday I looked and it wasn't available. So
literally hot off the presses right now. You guys can go get it.
the price of the book is worth it when you're talking about the investment for Arena. It's, $26.95 is nothing. So get the book before you do your Arena, or even if you're maintaining one that you're worried about right now, or you're not worried about it and you just want to do a better job of it. You can find it there. You can also find Abigail at abigailboatwright.com, and give a quick plug for your show.
Our podcast is called The Freelance Bermuda, and we have had Glenn on it too.
Yes, I've been on that show. It's fun. Check it out. Thanks, Abigail.
Well, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
You can enjoy your favorite equine videos all in one place with Ride TV, the ultimate equine streaming platform. The newly relaunched Ride TV has all the series you love, like mini horses and ridiculous ranches, plus top-tier training videos and event footage from Horse and Rider On Demand and BarrelRacing.com. Live the action, learn from the pros, love the stories. Subscribe to Ride TV today for only $19.99 to see where your ride takes you. Visit ridetvgo.tv to subscribe.
If you ain't met one by now, you're bound to sooner or later. He says one thing and he means another, but hey, he can't help it. He's a horse trader. Horse trading. Well, it's a laissez-faire. Let the buyer beware. Horse trading. They tell a low-down lie with a sincere stare. Horse trading. Well, if they're talking in circles and the deal ain't square, he's a master in the fine art of persuading. Horse trading.
That's right. It's time for Really Bad Ads, that time of the week when listeners submit ads from Craigslist or Facebook, and we just have a little bit of fun with them. We give away a prize each month, and this month it's a Farnham prize pack. We'll give it away next week, by the way, so you still have one more week to get ads in to get in the drawing. We're going to be giving away a Farnham cough-free pellets, the Quiet Tech show paste, the electrolyte paste, Slick and Easy horse grooming block, the Endure roll-on for horses, all as a big prize pack worth $75 will go to a winner that we're going to pick next week. And these prizes are brought to you by horselovers.com. Over 120,000 products that you can find for you, your horse, your barn, for everything horse related at horselovers.com. And we have a bunch of people that we aren't going to get to this week because we had so many. And Catherine, Faye, Nicole, Michelle, and Katie. We're not going to get to you this week. Sorry.
But just a reminder, do not send the link to the Facebook post to Jennifer. You have to take a screenshot of the ad, because most of these really bad ads, they're really bad and people pulled them down.
Well, plus they come from private Facebook groups that she doesn't belong to. So
that's true. That's true. All right. The first one was sent in by Jolyn, and it's yours, and I can't wait to see what you do with this one.
Well, first of all, I got to talk about the picture after. It's a Percheron horse, a Percheron. And it's a beauty named
Heron
or Percheron.
Percheron, Percheron.
It's a Percheron. This Percheron's name is Bertha. She's a Percheron. She's not broke to ride, but she could be. Well, first of all, can we say that about every horse?
Yeah.
She's a really nice horse. $3,500 for this Percheron that's not broke to ride, but could be. And then they have a picture. By the way, it's a Percheron.
Oh,
it's a Percheron. First of all, the picture, doesn't this make it look like a mini? A little fat Thelwell mini?
It looks 100 years old. I will say that.
Yeah, well, they didn't give an age in the, in the ad. But the thing looks, I don't know, just looks funny. And it's fat.
It looks to me, I mean, Percheron, bless her heart, Bertha, it looks like she's had about 12 foals.
Yes.
And has 4 more on the way for this year.
Yes.
And oh, bless her heart. She looks so pregnant, but like it apparently is not. And she's just an old fat Percheron named Bertha. Bless her.
Bertha's perfect name for this horse, too.
Yeah, it is. It is. Allison sent the next one in. Bus stop, $75. What? How is this a bus stop? Here's the description. Combine cab used as yard art or bust stop.
It's a cab off a combine.
Lock a child in there?
It's one of those glass calves off a combine.
Just you put a child in there, CPS will come. Because I'm like, Anna has to wait for the bus stop before school. If I put that out on the street and made her get in it, somebody would call CPS.
Well, yeah, but she wouldn't get hailed on.
It's a glass bubble. It's a glass. I mean, it's like, is it that? What is it?
It's the little top cab where they sit when they drive the combine. But they took everything out of it. It's empty. They still have the windshield wiper on it. Did you notice that?
Oh, wow, that is really creative to say it's a bus stop. Unbelievable. Justine sent the next one in, and this is in Houston for $5,000, and the title is Quiet Horse. All caps. Quiet Horse. First sentence, all caps. Not suitable for beginners.
Wait a minute. The title is Quiet Horse, and then the first sentence, not suitable for beginners?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh. Jewel is a 12 yarrow, 15.7 hands. She's quiet and ain't much trouble. Only rides / this is in all caps, they're yelling at you again. Only rides / responds Western. Next line, all caps. Do not ride on trails. Wonder what happened. Why can't you ride her on trails? Then the next line, I do not offer test rides. I will not deliver. Okay, somebody give me this person's phone number because this next sentence just makes me want to call them. Will be open to trades for a well-trained thoroughbred or quarter horse.
So you can't ride the horse. The title lied. It really did. It's not a quiet horse, and it's probably a $500 horse, not a $5,000 horse.
$5,000 for a horse that you can't ride on trails, will not be ridden English, and is not suitable for beginners.
Oh, and you're not allowed to test ride.
And you can't test ride her. You just got to go with God. Just give it over. Please, dear baby Jesus, 8 pounds, 7 ounce baby Jesus. Please let me ride this horse after I pay $5,000. Okay.
All right. Melanie sent this one in.
Speaking of prices, by the way, real quick.
Yep.
I've been in talks to adopt a standardbred horse, looking at some, and it is shocking to me, the prices. People want $7,000 to $10,000 for an off the track standardbred. Does that sound normal?
Not trained.
Not trained, still on the track. Somebody sent me a 3-year-old that had never raced, but was in race training that was too slow. And in the thoroughbred market, that's, take it from me, please.
Yeah, right.
Kind of money. They want $6,000 for this horse that's too slow. And I was like, before they told me the price, I was like, well, send me some video. They're like, we don't have any video. I'm like, you want me to spend $6,000 on a horse that I can't, and it's a pacer? I want to know how it moves. No. Okay, so if anybody comes across a reasonable standardbred, I feel like I'm Jen shopping for gated horses.
She's still having trouble too.
What is happening in this world? The thoroughbred people are light years ahead of the standardbred rehoming. I will say that.
Or there's just not as many standardbreds.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. I feel like there's plenty at the tracks, it's maybe it's like greyhounds. You're right.
It's $1,500 to adopt a greyhound now. It's crazy.
Wow.
We paid, I think we had paid adoption fee for ours of $200.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Hey, Melanie sent this one in.
Hi, it's Melanie from Maryland with a really bad ad from the Maryland Horse Network. And since I am from Maryland and it is a Maryland ad, I would like credit for using an accent. The ad reads, we are seeking an exceptional off-property free lease for a skilled student requiring a horse between 15 and 16 hands in height, no thoroughbreds, warm bloods acceptable, and 3'6" to 3'9" jumping ability, possessing forward potential, ideally with experience in dressage at the 3rd level or eventing. Good luck with that. I've no thoroughbreds and warm bloods are only acceptable. I'm not sure what magical unicorn breed they're looking for, but if anyone has one, they'll take it for free. Thanks, guys.
They want it for free?
I want your free horse that's jumping 3.6. You know?
Well, you know what? Maybe they could get in to talk to the people that own Jewel, the horse they're trying to trade for a well-trained horse. What is wrong with people?
JMO sent this one in. Small enclosed trailer, $500. It's not enclosed. Well, it is enclosed, actually, I think. New hitch, tires good. Lights installed, but probably need new bulbs or something. That means they don't work. Ready to finish out to suit your purpose. A tiny camper, a pig or goat hauler, or a work trailer. The sky is the limit, Jamie.
Oh my God, what is that?
It's this tiny little trailer that's only about 4 foot tall. It's homemade, where they used roofing siding on the sides and the top. And it looks like it might be on some kind of utility trailer base. You can really haul 400 pounds in, and then they put a door in the back, so you're not hauling anything that 1 needs to see out, 2 needs to breathe, and 3 is taller than about 4 foot.
Please don't put pigs in there. Please, they will suffocate. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Oh, it looks like you would transport a coffin.
Yes,
like you slide a coffin in there. That's about it.
Yep.
And it is fully enclosed with like corrugated metal material. This is ridiculous.
There are some Fridays when the ads just irritate Jamie, and this is one of those Fridays.
I'm irritated. I did get shot in the mouth with betadine and pus this morning, though, so it was not a great start. Okay. So are you saying that I'm being very grumpy and I need to change my attitude? Like literally,
I didn't say that. You're actually funny when you're grumpy. So I can't. Your husband can't say that, but I can.
Allie sent this one in. Utah Horse Connection Group. Oh, this is a Facebook page. And whoever posted this posted it anonymously. Seeking discreet, qualified professional trainer for a 4-year-old, poorly started, very large and handsome gelding, lacking respect, extremely herdbound and anxious, not fearful or flighty, never bucked, very willing, except when challenged. Owner may need training also. Yeah, it's usually the owner that needs the training, but whatever, let's move past that. Located in Bluffdale, and I would be willing to travel up to 20 miles. I would like to ride with a train, the letter R, 1 to 2 times per week. Anonymous. Oh, we know why they posted anonymously. Anonymous because my husband thinks he knows everything, but he doesn't. Shh, I pay in cash.
You can just hear the husband like, I can train that horse. I can ride that horse. What's wrong with you?
What you need to do is I will pay in cash.
This poor woman, I hope she finds a trainer.
Bless her heart.
All right, Lori sent this one in.
Hi, Jamie and Glenn. It's Lori here in Michigan, and I've got a truck of the week to pull the trailer of the week. And Glenn, you saw my truck, so you know I am not a truck snob. I sent you a screenshot. It's a 99 Chevy 1500 with 280,000 miles on it. And the seller says it has a cracked frame and rusted out body mounts, but it runs and drives great. No, it doesn't. It might run great, but how can it drive great if the only thing keeping the body on the chassis is gravity? But I have to give the seller credit for being honest. He's got it all shined up in the photos. It actually looks better than my truck. And if a buyer didn't look, they wouldn't know about the frame and the body mounts. And it's all yours for $1,200 or some hunting items, a pop-up camper or a boat. And at least he's not wanting to swap it for a better truck like the people who want to trade their psycho runaway horse for a well-trained one. You guys have a good day.
It's like she knew what we were going to read ahead of time.
Laura, you can send them in all the time. Matter of fact, why don't you do 10 of them for next week, and then we can take the week off.
Why don't you just take my seat?
That was fantastic. Thank you. Byron sent this one in. Quarter horse gelding started $300 in Dothan.
Oh, that's Alabama, baby. You
Alabama?
Southern. Alabama.
Quarter horse gelding started $300. Well-built, agile, athletic, and sure-footed. It's a gelding, 4-year-old, 14.3 hand, current Coggins. Was registered at one time, and then I didn't pay the bill anymore, and now it's not registered.
They didn't write that.
I added that. But why else wouldn't it be registered now, right? Was broke at one time, then I didn't ride him, and he's been out in the field for 10 years, and I haven't touched him since. You must pick him up. I might have embellished that a little bit.
But you needed to. You actually didn't need to, because we all knew what was being said at the
was
time.
Broke at
was
one
registered
time.
at one time? was broke at one time. You got to come get him.
He didn't say how long ago that was, by the way. Could have been 20 years, and this horse might be, oh, it's only a 4-year-old. So it wasn't broke that long ago.
Oh, God. Let me move on before I start to get mad again. Scott sent this one in, and this is a Craigslist ad.
Oh,
cheap horse, $200.
It's one of those with the picture.
Oh. I have a 5-year-old. It's either a stud or a paint. I'm not sure.
Aren't they two completely different things? Just to clarify.
Yes, okay. I have a 5-year-old. It's either a stud or a paint. I'm not sure it's up to date. And I have a saddle. If the letter U won't, the saddle and the horse, the price is $350, and it's kid broke. It's a good horse. It's just eaten me out of house and home and text and call.
Well, that's the right price for a broke kid horse. $200. That's a good price.
Okay, describe the picture.
Okay, it's one of those pictures we get a lot where the horse is out in the field facing the other direction from a
Way far
distance,
away.
taken with a camera that is blurry. It must be a really old iPhone because it's a very blurry picture of the butt end of the horse. Now, I will say the horse appears to have a white tail, which is kind of cool. The rest of it, I can't tell you. No idea.
Because it's knee deep in mud as well. So
it's just the pictures taken on super photo zoom is what it is.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and confirm that it is a Pinto because you can tell with the color, but I can't tell from here if it's still a stud. What the hell? Oh, damn it.
Claire sent the next one in, and Jennifer made a note. She said, "Can you say scam?" And she wanted you to see what in here indicates it might be. Usually scammers are very sly and slick, right? They don't post in the ad that are actually a scammer. This one, on the other hand, ponies, mini horse, even a zebra. Nice kid ponies and mini horses, some used for pony rides. Also a baby zebra available. $2,400 or $10,700. 20% off any purchase when you pay by Bitcoin.
Beep, 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 beep. Raise a red flag.
They put it in the ad.
And we can ship nationwide.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't even have to come see it. You just slide them some Bitcoin, and then we promise we're going to send
your
that
baby zebra out to you for $10,700.
Oh, somebody's going to hell. Hey, can I just also mention, speaking of scams, when you see these cute T-shirts on Facebook, make sure you Google the company that's doing them. There is a shirt that I saw and I was like, oh my God, I love it so much. And it's this really cute looking sweatshirt and it says, will not pass a vet check, like on it, like for, because I won't pass a vet check. And so I was like, that's super cute. I Googled the company and it's like not real. Like none of those things are real. So Google before you buy. Same with baby zebras and paying with Bitcoin. All right. The next one comes from Margaret. Americana style rocking horse, $50. Description. Rocking horse bought from Home Goods. Has that, I was thinking, oh, is this like an antique? No, it's not. They got it at Home Goods. Has that old school Americana look. Nice for someone to decorate with, put up on a shelf or in a corner to gather dust. About 30 inches tall by 36 inches long. This was not made in America. It was purchased at Home Goods, which means 100% chance it was made by barefoot orphans wearing pajamas somewhere in Asia. You need this in your house. Know why? Because I don't need it in my house.
That's the line of the day.
Fantastic. You know why you need this? Because I don't. And I don't want it. Margaret, that is fantastic. That is fantastic.
That's a good one to end with. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. We really appreciate you being here. Apparently, we have a special treat in the post show for the auditors, don't we?
I'm going to see if I can get her. Do you want to hear from the German living in the house?
Yes, I do. I want to talk to her and see if she hates
All right,
you
listen.
yet.
She's young.
Okay.
Be nice to her. Do not try to elicit inappropriate comments about me and my child raising, okay?
Would I do that?
Yes, you 100% would.
Not me.
I'll get Anna.
All right, we'll do that in the post show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back on Monday. We'll see you then. Take care. Have a great weekend and be safe.
And spay, neuter, and geld.